All right, I have 7:30. I'd like to call the February 15th, 2022 session of the West Liberty City Council in session. So present are council members Jose Zacarias, Diane Dominguez, Cara McFerren, Omar Martinez, and Diane Beranek. I needed a vote to start. I forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you got your roll call and then you need a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So we can move on. Councilmember Zacarias.
Here.
Councilmember Dominguez. Here. Councilmember McFerren.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Beranek.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move on to the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Consent vote.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, passes 5-0 to approve the agenda. So at this time, pursuant to Iowa Code Section 21.51C, the council would like to go into a closed session to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the government body in that litigation.
Motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember Beranek.
Yes. Yes.
Martinez. McFerrin.
Yes.
Dominguez.
Yes.
Zacarias.
Yes.
Okay. Approved. So at this point, we will be opening the closed session. Closed session. So I'd like us to reach out to him and see how he wants to pursue that. We have a second.
Second.
Okay. So we are voting on removing agenda item B of the closed session.
Okay.
So Councilwoman Beranek.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Passes 5-0. We'll remove that from the agenda and communicate with the chief as to when we are going to have it back on. Make sure that all parties are informed and prepared. So, all right. So that concludes that agenda item 3. I'd like to move on to agenda item 4, approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent agenda is approved 5-0. So item A, regular council meeting minutes for February 2022. Is there? Wait,
That was all
approved. That was all approved. So we don't have to go through this. All right.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Thanks, guys. That's what happens when you take a week off. You're rusty. So we'll move on to agenda item 5, vendor voucher claims.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the vendor voucher claims have been approved 5-0. We'll move on to public comments and/or correspondence. This is a time set aside from the public on topics of city business other than those listed in the agenda. No action may be taken. So if you'd like to speak today, please state your name and address and keep your comments 2 to 5 minutes, folks. And we had Brian Gracia on the agenda. I don't see him present here.
He didn't mention anything, so.
Okay, and I talked to him.
Yeah.
He didn't think he was going to be here today. Any other members of the public like to speak? Okay, Mr. Reed.
I'll read. Everybody knows my address. Everybody knows me here.
Can you state it for the record, please?
Live in West Liberty. I just had it's nothing against anybody. I found some handbooks online in reference to council. Back on the 18th, I believe it was, Ms. McFerren made a comment stating that the council only must act on the what of, items and policies and all that other stuff, but just curious to know, because this Venn diagram says a whole different.
What's that from?
Can
This
you?
is from be here in a second. Just got back from a call, so my mind is still on that call. It was a long one. This part of the, I think it's MLA handbook, the one that you guys follow. I got it, I Googled it, did some digging, found it, and it mentions it quite a few times in this, and this isn't even half of the handbook. It was still printing on my printer. I just didn't have time, sorry. I'm a busy person at times, but this Venn diagram says that you guys must know everything. And the community
Wow.
must be, from what I'm getting out of this, must be involved or could be involved in this. I mean, I could pass it around if you guys want to see it, but city organization structure, says otherwise. So I'm just kind of curious on when you guys, or when you made mention about the micromanaging. I was just kind of hoping that you can maybe clarify this and help me out with this.
Well, what questions do you have on micromanagement?
When you said that you guys don't micromanage, but yet you said, you also stated that you had some issues with our fire chief, which I kind of look at it as it being a micromanaging type of deal, you know what I mean?
Did I say I had issues with
Yeah.
the fire chief?
Yes, you did.
I don't
No,
know.
no.
It was that exact wording.
You said there was issues.
We have heads of departments that take care of the issues that you mentioned, the ones under their department. We don't mess up with that, we trust them, they are there for that purpose.
Okay,
I think that's what she was allowed to.
okay. Because just by looking at the code and all that, and I've cited this code to numerous council members here, that our fire chief is only to report annually. And it doesn't say anywhere else that he must report monthly or bi-monthly or whatever. It doesn't say any of that. It just says that he must report annually a budget of some sort that you guys request. And so far, from what I've seen, after FOIA requesting emails, I've seen that he has done that annually since he's been on. There's other things that I won't bring up until he's here to, rebuttal a lot of the stuff that I've seen in the emails as well. But it appeared that he's been doing what he was supposed to do, and unless you guys know something that we don't know, I would gladly be open ears on it. But it just seems like everything that's going on with our chief is based off of hearsay, because there's no action whatsoever that anybody has shown us to prove that our chief is an unreliable chief. And I've dug and prodded, I did all kinds of stuff to try to find answers, and I couldn't find it, even after FOIA requesting emails.
Well, and just, I want to empower the council, because this is something that we need to discuss with the chief in the room too. So I want to empower obviously the council we don't have to enter into this discussion right now, because he's not here. And it's his right to be here if somebody has something that they want to comment on or something like that. So I just want to be really careful with that before anybody says anything.
Okay, well,
So, but
and I get that, and I respect that. I just want to make it on record, since we're live, that our code states that he only needs to report annually. Okay, so I want everybody to know that, and they can go and read it. It's in black and white. I mean, it's public record. I mean, anybody can go and look it up. It says that he must report annually. I looked in the handbook, the city handbook. There's no mention to him except for the fact that you appoint that. You know what I'm saying? You pretty much are the one that swears him in. And when you guys took office, you guys swore to uphold to that code and the Constitution of the state and of the United States as well. So I'm just kind of hoping that you guys can actually go back and relook at everything and see where the actual problem lies, because it just doesn't, to me, I couldn't find anything that led back to him unless, like I said, y'all know something I don't know. Or we don't know as people, of the community, so that's
Thank you.
all I have for right now.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
I have a letter that I provide to the administration in an effort to approve your decision to remove me from my committees was sentence arbitrary and in a way vindictive. And I asked the administration to read it at this time.
It's addressed to Katherine McCullough, Mayor of West Liberty, Iowa. It's in regard to double standard regarding civil behavior during West Liberty City Council meetings. Mayor McCullough, communication encompasses language, writing, and gesture. To communicate effectively, we use expression, body language, and words. It is with this statement in mind that I would like to call to your attention the issue of proper conduct that arose in our previous council meeting. The issue was twofold. You voiced to me that you feel that my behavior towards Councilmember Dominguez was unprofessional and inappropriate. However, you also allowed the council members to endure the behavior of Mr. Paul Reed rather than exercising your mayoral control over the proceedings of council. You allowed the disrespectful behavior of Mr. Paul Reed to go unchecked. I feel there was a double standard that evening and that you have entrenched bias against the seasoned council members. Regarding your assessment of my behavior, neither Councilmember Dominguez or anyone else present at the meeting mentioned or filed a complaint against me, which leaves your assessment subjective and possibly demonstrative of your biases against me. Now, to make my point of a double standard, compare your accusation of my behavior to the uncivil behavior of Mr. Paul Reed put on display at the city council meeting. Mr. Reed exhibited uncontrolled temper during the council meeting, even when I approached you hoping to offer advice on the options you could exercise to regain control of the chambers. Using your station as mayor, you chose to allow Mr. Reed to continue with inappropriate, abusive language directed towards your fellow council members and city staff. Furthermore, prior to the meeting, you met with this individual to prepare him, coach him, and may be the correct phrase on his participation during the public comments and correspondence portion of the meeting. While your meeting with Mr. Reed is by no means illegal, the entire situation strikes me as unethical. The nature of our city government is a collective forum. We are 5 elected members of the community who take shared responsibilities in all areas of municipal government. A wise leader draws on both the guidance of the experienced and the fresh voices of the inexperienced as they make decisions. I believe this idea holds true with municipal committee appointments as well. The 3 seasoned council members who have served multiple terms over the course of 30 years do have knowledge to contribute to the council, knowledge that will be an asset to the training of the 2 new members who have no municipal government experience. I believe we can agree that the previous professional experience of both you and Councilmember Dominguez is substantial, but not all encompassing of municipal regulations and procedures. For example, regarding the nomination for the position of fire chief, going into the meeting, excuse me, I'm getting a leg cramp. For example, regarding the nomination for the position of the fire chief, going into the meeting, there was a foregone assumption of a 3-2 split vote. With the absence of sufficient lobbying or dialogue in which all council members could claim an understanding of the change to previous discourse with the candidate, the vote was held at 3-2. It was a terrible, unfortunate situation for Chief Sickles, and I feel it was due to the lack of preparation from the proponents of the vote led by your mayoral chair. Again, this is the case at the second meeting when the fire chief nomination was on the agenda. I felt that the situation had not changed and was disappointed, but compelled to vote no, or compelled to vote, or to again vote no. Excuse me. Then followed a so-called emergency meeting, in my opinion. Councilmember McFerren explained in very clear terms the reasons for not attending the meeting, and I entirely concur. What followed was your decision to remove me from my municipal committee appointments. This action was unwarranted and moreover retaliation driven by your entrenched bias towards the seasoned council members. To date, we have lost 2 opportunities to make progress as a council in an already very convoluted environment at the city. It is counterproductive to move backwards rather than forward. And my experience in the municipal committee has value with regard to the continued improvement of the city. Respectfully, Jose Zacarias, West Liberty's councilman.
Thank you.
I would like to comment, since I was mentioned in there, Jose, there's a lot for us to talk about, because there was a lot of misunderstanding in that letter that I would
I don't
happily talk with you
think, I
about.
don't think this is the place we can do it one to
But yeah,
one. Okay,
that's what I mean,
perfect.
like, I'm always willing,
So
and
it's not,
Do it.
yeah,
it's not the place, but you can accuse in a letter. And that this is the place, this is the public forum to hurl accusations of bias and vindictiveness against me. You know why you were removed from one of your committees. And that's a matter of public record if anybody wants to get it. And that has nothing to do with vindictiveness and everything to do with the breach of confidentiality, sir. So I will take that under counsel. No. But if there are civil public comments, I will hear them. But
I just want to know why you talked about the respect when Mr. Reed was talking and you're visibly shaking your head, putting your hands over your eyes and not listening to him when he is being respectful. That was probably his first time talking publicly like that. And he got out of hand. And this time he was very civil and you were still visibly laughing, covering your eyes and shaking your head when he was being respectful and addressing the public as is his right. So it seems like you are.
my inability or my quote unquote inability to control Mr. Reed in that meeting, it was my first meeting ever. And I believe if you watch the video, I do try to silence him and I try to do it in a civil and respectful way. So, and what happens when he leaves, which is what I understand you took issue with, sir. What happens when he leaves these chambers, I don't have any say or control over that. But if you watch the video to the best of my ability, except I didn't know that I had the option of having him escorted out. I didn't know that Chief Werling was even sitting there. He was blocked. I didn't know that I could pound my gavel and claim order. And I will take responsibility for that. I will take responsibility for my ignorance as far as that goes. I will, but I will not say that I didn't try. And I don't think anybody who goes back and watches those videos can say that I didn't try. Can you, we could be respectful?
Okay. I was out of line that day, very first meeting. I'll be a man of it. I was out of line. And I apologize to you, Ms. Cara McFerren. And I was gonna do that during the last meeting, the last council meetings that we had. But I was specifically asked to not speak at all during those meetings by my constituents at the fire department. They asked me not to speak, period. So that's why I didn't speak. I do apologize to you. You are a good woman. I do know that. I work with your mom. You know what I'm saying? She talks about you all the time. And you know what I'm saying? And I even said it to your mom that sooner or later, I'm eventually going to be able to go in here and apologize to her. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, when I'm giving orders, I follow, okay? Especially by people that I adore and I work with daily, all day. You know, so I do apologize to you, okay? All right. What happened after I left this place, and I was asked to leave. Everybody knows that. Everybody that was here knows that I was asked to leave and I left. I didn't need chief to escort me out. I was escorting myself out the door, which I did. And I did say something to him outside of these doors, okay? Which I'm within right to say anything I want to anybody outside these doors, okay? It's my freedom of speech, okay? And as of now, I'm doing my best to try to word this in a better way to where it doesn't sound like I'm attacking Mr. Zacarias, but you gotta understand when you call people and when you tell people one thing, when you ask people to sit with you at restaurants and then you lead them to believe that you're on their side. And then you do this
This is laughable.
right here. I mean,
I'm sorry.
There's no-
I'm sorry, but if what you did at the restaurant was loving, that's a very, very.
I don't know what you're talking about
Very
what I
cordial.
did at the restaurant, but I know when we met
Anyway.
and
I'm not gonna
can you
engage
not
in-
interrupt me? I didn't interrupt you when you spoke. So show me that respect. Okay? When we met at West Liberty Foods Market, you called me specifically over to your table. You even came into my job, called me over to your table and led us to believe that you were on our side. And then you come in here and you pull this. And then that is why I said what I said to you out there. Okay? And if the council wants to know what I said, I'll happily tell them.
Mr. Mayor, I think there's a limit when it comes to public participation and announcements. Time limit.
Is there a statute or a code that says that I have to give? Because if there is, please inform me, city manager.
Oh.
Or city clerk, please.
Well, just, again, we are conducting a business meeting. And I think that when there's a communication of the place and time, I think that there's some positive conversation going here. And but again, there's business that needs to be conducted
Yes, ma'am.
and done in a timely manner. And there's an opportunity, Mayor, that, we could establish, that one-on-one conversation outside of a council meeting.
And that's fine, but if that, and I agree, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but if this is a business meeting, like we also, like, how can
That letter be introduced.
correct? So it's fine. I will take it under advisement. Thank you, Councilman Zacarias, for your comments. And we will move on to the business of the city. And go from there. Is there any Zoom comments or public comments that want to happen?
I'm gonna give it a few minutes to see if anything pops up on the chat or
Great.
if anyone raises their hands. We do have some,
Madam Mayor, I would just note that we do have our budget work session, which will be approving next Thursday, but that did open the door. And I did talk with the mayor, and she's planning on attending the chamber awards dinner next Tuesday, and I'm happy to make reservations for any of the council members. You got one for Omar. 1, 2,
This is for the chamber?
it's for the chamber. It's next Tuesday, the
22nd.
Oh,
22nd, and it's at Fairgrounds.
I'll write you an email.
If-
Okay.
I'll just check with everybody. I just want to be thinking about it because reservations are due by the 17th. So.
Okay.
Or you can let me know after the meeting. Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Mhm.
I had a
Sure.
Okay. I did have some discussion. I got an email in regards to my discussion at the last meeting for the snow emergency and vehicles parked. And this is from Mr. Steve Alt. He owns the 107 West 3rd Street downtown. And he was commenting on the vehicles that are parked. He does go down and check on his building or works down there periodically and sometimes overnight. And he does notice that there are vehicles parked right outside, especially when it's written that between 2 and 4 a.m., no vehicles to be parked, I guess. So he just wanted to make mention, I wanted to make mention of that on his behalf.
Thank you. Any other?
And
Oh, yeah.
I would just
I see.
would note, and I'll let Chief speak too, that, we've had some other comments about folks that don't have places to park that are in the apartments up above most of these buildings. And if you think back, And this is not me knowing, it's just from history of talking to people that have been here, that, it wasn't that long ago that those apartments were empty and there were people living downtown, so it wasn't a problem. And that's something that Chief and I have talked about, and he may want to make a comment, but I've told a couple residents that we need to get our public safety committee together. And we're also in the process of redoing our ordinance, but there are some things that I think we can do, because we've had some folks that have gotten parking tickets written for being down there at those hours, and it's difficult for them to find places to park. So we're going to try to work on it. I'll let Chief.
That's basically what I would say. The officers on overnights do issue citations periodically. It's not something that's a directive that they have to do every night. But technically, as the ordinance is written, then yes, but the ordinance says 2 to 4, the signage says 2 to 6. So the officers try not to do it every night, because they do realize that many of them that they're getting are residents of downtown. So I've had people come in and talk to me specifically about the fact that they feel like they're being penalized for living downtown, and I don't want that to happen. So that's a suggestion for our new code, is to find a workaround for that, so we can remove the vehicles if that's what the council wishes, or find a way that maybe the downtown residents can stay there. I don't know what the right answer is, but I have had both sides come in and talk to me. So same side that you're talking about, Andy.
And I think, probably the biggest reason the city probably put that in, I'm only guessing, is when they come to sweep the streets.
Yeah.
The streets are, they like to have vehicles moved, and there are probably some things that we could do to help that situation and allow people to basically, park down there, or folks that live there, other than that period where they will be inconvenienced, maybe where the street sweeper has to go once a month or something through. I mean, I've done some things in some other small communities that seem to work, and I thought that's part of the discussion that we could certainly have.
Yeah, because downtown we have signage that says no skateboards or bicycles on sidewalks, but
Yeah.
you know,
Is there a vehicle minimum to residents? To let them know?
No, yeah, I own the building right next to that
Okay.
building,
Well, I didn't know
and
if
it would have
that
been nice if they could park somewhere. They always have to move their cars.
Yeah,
It could be something
if we
simple,
had
an odd
more,
even day.
if we had more parking, in the downtown, that's not a choice, but I think there's some things that we can certainly look at and doing.
Yeah.
Well, there's that,
To help alleviate that problem, and I think that's a discussion we can have with them, or with the chief and the public safety committee. And then we can kind of, present something and then get feedback from the, community as well, as if they believe that's what.
and I know a lot of our ordinances currently that we're working off of are very bad and outdated. So we're in the midst, for everybody that,
Refresher.
we're in the midst of recodifying our ordinances and making them fall in line with the statute and with reality. So with that being said, it will take some time to do that. But in the meantime, we're just trying to be as effective and real as possible.
And as Mr. Reed had pointed out, we were gonna talk to Adam about next to Savory, the yellow.
Yes.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure we recognize, because you had a question us on
Yes,
that,
I do.
so, yeah.
thank you.
The other,
That's all I have.
and I didn't know if you want to go around, I have a public comment, but I want to make sure you.
I've done. Any other council members?
I did speak with Johnson County Supervisor John Green when I got the letter from David from Escuchimigos. We had a good conversation, and we're going to meet this week sometime, hopefully, so he can kind of lay out or brainstorm together some implementation plans. And then if Cara wants to join, we're happy to join. I don't have a date or anything yet, but and this is just to get just to converse, because I know he's been working with the U.S. Treasurer to figure out what is possible. And of course, his role, he works 1 to 5 on a bigger scale, but he was the mayor of a Lone Tree. And so he said he might have some good ideas to help support our restrictions on staffing and things like that, some different ideas. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and talking with him and figuring that stuff out to see if we can hopefully vote on this soon. And I
Yeah,
actually have a plan.
in conjunction with council member Dominguez, I did receive information. Did you receive information in regards to that?
I think we all received it.
Okay.
And I've actually got I've got a legal opinion coming from our law firm, as well as I'm doing some additional follow-up that I'll be having to present to the finance committee when we get together to discuss it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I think even today, anything keep running,
I'm just collecting information.
that's kind of what I'm
Yep.
doing. I'm just
Yep.
trying to get as much as I can, so we can make the right decision.
Yeah, that's all I had.
Go ahead, Lee.
So on your desk, we had on February 14th, and you'll have to pronounce the name because I do not want to incorrectly say. Yes. We had a good group that had came and they had done a nice peaceful protest at City Hall, and they had, I would say, probably 30 or 40, and so when they were done, I met with them in the lobby area and took the time to listen to them. And so before you, they asked me to provide their correspondence. And again, it's in line with what all of us have received with the information from the treasurer, and just reinstating what they've already communicated during our council meetings. And then I took time to thank each one of them and appreciated that, I explained that as the city clerk, I do not have the authority to make this decision, but we also wanted them to know that we appreciate them as a community members, and that we've heard them, and that I would provide this to our mayor and our council this evening. So that's all I have for public correspondence.
I also wanted to say thank you to that group when they did come to do their protest. We went out and let them know we wanted them to be there. We wanted to hear their message. I helped them understand what would keep them within legal bounds to continue their protest. They were thankful. They immediately did what we asked. So I with a lot of those, having worked in the Iowa City area before, that was phenomenal. So I do appreciate that they did a great job. They got their message across and they did exactly the way they could do it within the law. So it was perfect. They did a good job.
I'd like to add their message is being heard, and we're seeing what we can do and trying. Okay. Any other public comments, anything on Zoom?
I do not have, there's chat, but it's not a public comment. So.
Okay, all right. All right, so we will move on to agenda item 7, old business, discussion and appropriate follow-up mayoral council committee appointments. So by consent vote, what do you mean by this? I'm sorry.
Consent vote is, you don't do a roll call. You're just.
No, I'm sorry, I know that.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
No,
No, I'm
I'm not
sorry.
that green.
I didn't know how long we've been in this meeting, so.
So do we need to have the committees back up and everybody needs to vote on them, or?
So originally we had set the committees, and then you wanted to come back with the public safety, and then we had the committees, but we tabled it last time.
And then
because we wanted to wait for you, Mayor, to be present to have.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess what is council voting on for that?
To approve.
Pretty much
your
To
committees.
approve my committees? Okay, okay.
I'm sorry.
That's an appointment.
Yeah, I don't think
from
we
her.
have,
Do
we
we
don't
have
have
to
to,
approve? Or
Yeah, that's why I'm confused.
do we have to approve because it's her prerogative for an appointment, or?
No, we're approving it to recognize it, so we
Okay.
publicate it to, as your appointments. Council's
oh,
agreeing
okay.
by their approving your appointments. They're agreeing to your appointments.
Mhm.
So if you not, how do I explain it? It's a part of a process where you're appointing and they're agreeing as your council to those appointments by approving. Because the mayor doesn't have the authority to make the motion and approve, you're directing. And so therefore, as the council, they're approving your appointments.
Okay, so And I guess I still don't get, I'm sorry.
It's what you kind of did the first time.
Right.
You had most of your appointments made,
Mhm.
and there was a consensus vote of it.
Right, and then I've changed them, I think,
But-
twice
But
since,
she
but-
doesn't change it, so
Right.
it really, it's just coming back to the new list.
I don't remember
Basically.
voting the first time.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to approve the mayor council committee appointments.
Thank you. A second.
So if there's the discussion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
No.
Passes 3-2. Okay, so we'll move on to discussion and appropriate follow-up on the West Liberty Public Library building upgrades. Which in our packets, right?
Yeah.
So, and is Ally going to speak or is this?
Yep, she's there.
She's on.
Oh,
So the library board is getting ready to remodel that room that you're currently in order to make the space more technology friendly as well as a little bit more accessible. The changes will be right behind Jacob's head. There will be a window.
Dog.
Like a bar window?
Like, think church fellowship hall kind of situation. And with a countertop to increase the surface space available for that room, as well as they'll be making the counters or the cabinets shallower so that more than one person can fit in the room at a time. And there will be a short sink installed at the end of the kitchen right next to the door, so kids can wash their hands as they leave after a craft of any sort without having to run their hands on every counter and cupboard as we go. We'll also be installing adjusting one of the closets. The closet behind Diane currently is divided into 2 rooms. It'll be changed into 1 room, and there will be a door installed so that there will be an additional exit from the youth department into the meeting room space, so that when the gate is down, we will have access to that space for fire exit and as well as staff and convenience. Board will be looking at bids on, I believe, the 23rd is when the close happens. This is part of our capital improvement plan. Yeah, so we're just looking to have the budget amended to be able to make.
Why did she?
Did she meet herself?
Nope, she was done. She was.
Oh,
yeah.
I had a question for you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cara.
I was looking at the proposed floor plan
Mhm.
and is that just for this west side of the building? That doesn't include the entire floor plan, is that correct?
Right, it is just that room that you're in and the story time room / video game room and the closet in between the 2 spaces.
Oh, so that room directly behind us and this room?
Yep.
Okay.
There will also be a window installed, and I believe there's going to be an amendment to the plans. So instead of 2 windows, it'll be 1 larger window so that we can use it as a puppet theater for when the room is being used as a story time space, and then can also house be a place where we can safely put the TV and all of the consoles behind there so that the kids can't mess with them or they don't get accidentally damaged in some regard. It'll just be a little bit safer for the technology that we use in that space.
That's an interior wall?
Yeah.
Oh, right here, okay.
And they actually will receive bids on the 22nd. I believe Ally's board meets on the 23rd.
I'm gonna be asking the board to have a special meeting on the 23rd.
On the 23rd. it will come to you folks on the 1st of March because Hallie's budget will have to be amended for this project, kind of like what we talked about, with the audit, we've got to have that coverage. So that will serve as our public hearing by having that budget amendment on the 1st. And then you'll basically take the library's recommendation and hopefully approve that. So,
And that's, this is part of spending down the Maryland IRE bequest, as we were instructed to spend that within 5 years. And I believe that this will be kind of the last of it.
Okay.
There's no actions that need to be taken or anything. Anybody else have any comments on the library?
I just, I would recommend a motion to move it to a budget amendment. We're gonna set the budget amendment, but I think the discussion has to be is that you would recommend that the expenditure be placed in a budget amendment. And then further in the agenda, you'll see that we'll set the public hearing for the, that way that you're showing, you're making that motion that you're gonna agree to the expenditure and how it's gonna be handled.
Okay, great. I'll make a motion for a budget amendment on the library renovation.
Second.
That'll be for the next meeting, correct,
Yes.
council meeting?
And you'll
Any-
set that, yeah.
Any
You'll set
comments or
that
discussion?
What's that?
Any comments or discussion to the second or to the, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay. So with that, we'll move on to new business, discussion and appropriate follow-up purchase of the 2022 F-550 truck with dump body for street department.
I think Adam hopefully still online. Yep, he's there. Adam?
Do you need a motion?
I was gonna have Adam.
I was seeing if he wants to comment.
Do we, is that gonna be under discussion or do you want him to comment right now?
Well, it's discussion of appropriate follow to get a consent vote, so I was hoping Adam would.
We probably fell asleep waiting on us.
You can,
Is there, do we want to do we want to make a motion to vote before we hear, or do we want?
Well, I mean, I didn't make a motion for the purchase of the dump truck for the street department.
One second.
And
We
this
can
is
go in
act, this will actually be a purchase that will take place in the new budget year, but because of the timing on getting vehicles
Yeah.
and the delay, Adam wanted to. He's here.
I'm here.
So that, Adam, will this be assigned to come out of the 22-23 budget, or will we have to make an amendment?
No, it'll be coming out of the 22-23 budget, but with, like Dave said, with the shortage of vehicles, there's one that can be lined up right now that we would get by the end of fall, coming up this fall. Otherwise, it's over a year and a half out. But it has to be ordered right now.
And we don't have to pay for it now, though.
No.
Need to order
Just need
it.
to order it.
Make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so do we, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody
You need a
opposed?
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought.
Here,
I
motion.
did.
Oh, Dave, I missed the second. I heard the first, but I missed the second. My apologies.
So, I'm sorry, was there any, I heard ayes, is there any opposed? Okay, all right, passes 5-0, order the truck.
And then Nick is a brand new 2009 truck.
Oh, very exciting. So, next is new business B, resolution 2022-0215-05, a resolution to approve
No,
updated.
you should have your amended.
your amended, do you have your amended agenda?
Oh, not in my, no, I
Oh,
don't.
you know what? I don't either.
Are there there?
Yep.
I'll get it.
I don't
Well,
have
these,
my amended.
there are several here.
Because you have the same notes as I
I didn't print it off, actually.
I'm sorry, I know that you did that and then I didn't add it.
Anybody else need it, or do you have it?
Sorry, folks.
I need it.
Kidding.
I think. I don't know, just taking it.
Oh, you have that in it. It says
Oh.
in front of yours that you got it.
Okay.
Sorry, so B is actually,
The Freightliner,
Yeah.
the garbage
yes.
truck.
Mhm.
Okay.
This discussion and appropriate follow-up purchase, a 2023 Freightliner automated garbage truck for solid waste.
You know, this is the same,
Is it this?
This is a different, this, Janet.
okay.
Adam, you go ahead and start, and then I'll kind of fill in if there's something else I think it needs to be there.
So we have a 2017 automated Freightliner truck right now. It's starting to nickel and dime the city. And we accidentally fell into a perfect setup of having one also by the end of the year, and we're getting half the truck paid for because this truck still has a whole bunch of trade-in value. And if it gets pushed off too much longer, it's going to be at least 2 years out before another one is available, and the trade-in value will be very little.
Okay, I'll make a motion to purchase the 2023 Freightliner automated garbage truck.
And again, this will come out of next year's budget. It's just a matter of getting it forward because it's gonna take a while to have it processed as well.
Thank you. Good job getting those, Adam.
Second. Or Omar seconded.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, second truck, let's do it. All right, item C now is what I mentioned before, sorry about that, resolution 2022-0215-05, a resolution to approve updated EMT, AEMT paramedic job descriptions. So,
Motion.
so, and I'm sorry, was that a second?
You make a motion?
Yeah, did you?
Oh, I said, no, I didn't make a motion.
Oh,
No. I'll second that.
I'm taking my mask off. Nobody can see me talk.
Do we have a second?
Omar's the second.
Oh, Omar second.
Yeah.
And your motion to approve is with the amended changes. that
Yes,
were
I'm
discussed prior
sorry.
to.
Thank you so much. So I spoke for quite a while with Tammy today to look over some of the descriptions, and there are a few things that in order to approve them need to be changed immediately because there's just some obsolete language that is used. And then with the understanding, as I discussed with Lee earlier, that these descriptions can be changed with the growth of the department and in addition, but we do need to change the
EMTB.
EMTB, yep, needs to be removed. I don't know, Mary, if you want to allow Tammy to
What is
discuss. Sorry, this is for the paramedic AEMT and EMT descriptions.
Under the
Right.
qualifications, it talks about having an EMTB. EMTB is no longer,
Oh,
it used to be that everybody had to be an EMTB.
Yeah, and it's no longer,
So as long as the people working on it, Lee and Tammy feel like the communication lines are open and we're ready to go, I don't want to belabor it unless there needs to be some discussion for clarification.
and it's written in the description here under
Yeah, so-
essential
So
function.
what
training
we're
and
gonna do is
experience
approve those
requirements.
as amended to remove some of the language that Dana brought up.
yep,
And there are further changes coming as we have time. Unfortunately, today the pager started going and that ended my day to even get things to Dana and Lee. Just as far as the verbiage, the job qualifications, the job necessities, what we're looking for education, to streamline it to what is the norm for an EMS operation.
I would
So-
assume it's because of the central service change, you know?
Oh, that's a whole nother.
That's another
So
discussion.
that's a whole other
Going
discussion
down the
down
line.
the road. What we're trying to do right now is get this finally corrected the way that it should be.
Right.
And in a way that it can apply down the road. So we're not having to reinvent this every 6 months, a year down the road. So let's get it done
Well,
correctly.
Just so you know, Tammy, we will look at these job descriptions on an annual basis.
Oh, yeah.
And if there are changes.
But they shouldn't have to be
made.
completely rewritten and
No.
then at least then I could bring in what changes have
take it at the state level,
Yep.
which then reflects into this.
Yeah, and I think that's probably a priority for us right now is to make sure that we are compliant with what the state acknowledges as certifications. Tammy pointed out that EMTB classification is no longer used.
Several of the classes that were suggested, you know, in some of the other categories, either are, they're considered a bonus if you have them, but they're not a requirement with most services to state. Number one, because they're difficult to even get a class.
And that's the pediatric advanced life
No, the
support.
PHTLS. We've gotten very lucky in this area because there has been
Oh, the
two classes
pre-hospital.
taught here recently, but I can tell you in my 20-year career, this will be the third time I've taken the class because it comes up that infrequently. And it's at quite a bit of cost usually to each individual. The BCLS, it's BLS, it's not BCLS. There's just certain little wordings that need to be changed. And then there's other things that will just require further discussion and then brought back at that time. So.
I guess my recommendation, if they're that far wrong, then maybe you should just table them and not.
Yeah.
approve them.
And like I said, right now, I'm trying to get an updated version that all of us can work around and then just try to decide, so it comes back to these guys.
So should we?
I think that's
I
probably the
think to be
best.
the lead, it would be best,
Yeah.
honestly. It's not affecting us today. The BLS, the EMT description will have to be a priority just because there's already postings out for that position. But and it shouldn't take me that much longer. I got through most of it.
Do you
today,
think by
so-
the next meeting?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if Dana and Omar want to amend your motion
Yes,
to table it, we can.
table it until March 1st. And in the meantime.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Tammy, can you work directly with Sandy and
I
Jim?
am not gonna have time to work on these.
Okay,
I have budget amendments and budget, so I'll assign.
So I
you-
mean, it's something that we can continue working on. Like, you've already seen kind of the direction that I'm going with it and the changes that I've made. If you've had a chance to even look at it. I know it was just brought through, but it's a matter of
seen anything.
There's umpteen different layers to EMS and fire, so we need to make this cohesive. So anybody looking at this knows exactly what their role and responsibility is.
Maybe just table it until we have time.
Table, so maybe not for the next meeting,
Yeah,
but
because we're on a real crunch deadline.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, because there's a date we have to have it submitted by.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I didn't, and I just wanna be fair,
No,
I don't want us to,
absolutely.
you know. both of
And
our times.
I'm not saying that the stuff that Lee has put together is by any means bad. I think Lee did a great job. There's just
I
things
just think
in
there's a
there.
different perspective from somebody within the industry versus somebody outside of the industry. Like, I could never write her job description,
Right.
you know, so.
Well, I mean, and there's just inaccurate things in there that I wouldn't know that was inaccurate. So it's good to always have a couple set of eyes. So, all right. So I motion to table the approval.
all in
Yes.
favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, we'll table that.
Thank you, Tam.
Item D, resolution 202215-06, a resolution to approve paramedic new hire and wage.
Oh, motion.
Want a second? Do we need a second?
Is there
I
any
didn't have a
discussion?
second.
Sarah, second.
Okay.
And Gary.
Is there any discussion before we vote? Okay, this is a roll call vote, yes? Okay.
Yes.
Councilman?
Yes.
Councilman?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Approved 5-0. All right, we'll move to E, resolution 202215-07. Resolution to approve police officer new hires and wages.
Motion to approve.
Any discussions? Oh,
I'm just excited.
Thank
Oh.
I was just gonna say, thank goodness.
But you got a problem with that now?
Celebrating.
Do we have a second?
And they have experience.
Yeah.
Yes, the two
Oh,
officers that
sorry.
we will be hiring will have a combined 30+ years of experience.
So that seems great.
Are they,
When do we meet?
local?
One is in Tipton and the other one is in a community north of Ames, so she's working on relocation right now.
Okay.
But Jack has previously worked for the city of West Liberty, so he's very familiar with the
Oh, cool.
community and the folks here, so. It won't take near as much training to put him on the street.
Hopefully.
Okay, so, Councilman Zacarias?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That is approved 5-0. Move on to item F, resolution 202215-08, a resolution to approve and file the fiscal year 2021 audit with the Iowa Auditor of State by Bowman and Miller PC. This is what we discussed earlier.
Motion to approve and file audit for 2021.
Okay. Councilman Beranek?
Yes.
Councilman Martinez? Councilman McFerren?
Yes.
Councilwoman Dominguez?
Yes.
That passes 5-0 as well. And we will move to number G, or letter G. Set the date for a public hearing budget amendment fiscal year 2021 on March 1st, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. And that's during our regular council member, or council meeting.
Motion to.
I don't think we need to vote on that.
Oh,
I think we
okay.
just set the date.
No,
You need to.
Oh, we do, okay.
Yeah, you need a motion, a second. Vote on
I'll motion to set the date.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the date will be March 1st, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. Letter G, set the date for the city council work session, February 24th at 5 p.m. for general fund located at the We Lead Building, 119 East 3rd Street.
That's a Thursday, right?
It is a Thursday,
February
That's-
25th.
That's kind of. what we
February
do.
24th.
We had talked about being the 22nd because of the chamber thing.
Mhm.
People might want to go to the chamber function, so that's why we moved it to Thursday.
Okay.
Because we wanted to be able to support that.
Motion to set the city council work session for the 24th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it will be February 24th at 5 p.m. at the We Lead Building. The last item of new business, set the date for the city council budget work session for budget amendment on March 1st, 2022 at 6:30 p.m. located at the West Liberty Public Library. So here, these.
Madam Mayor, I just put that on there because I did not know if you wanted to go through a work session to go over the budget amendment. Or if, because there will be some other items, since we're gonna go ahead and make a budget amendment for the library. We have some other budget amendments that need to be recognized. So
I think if everybody can be there, it'd be a good idea.
I'll be there.
Omar. Okay, do we have a motion to?
Motion. Council work session budget on March 1st, 6:30.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so then it will be the city council budget work session for budget amendment, March 1st, 2022 at 6:30 here in this room. Okay, we'll move on to reports.
I will let you know that Mr. Foley is not in attendance this evening. He's on vacation this week.
Good for him.
He will, have some information for us back on the 1st of March.
Is that moving forward though, or is that just everything?
No, I'm just kidding.
We're talking to well.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for some warmer days to kind of have a chance of snowing yet. I don't know if he's got a set. When he set me up, he didn't have a set date. I think it was dependent on whether being above 40 for a certain number of days for the work done.
Yeah.
As I recall.
All right, well, so we will, do I need to do anything to amend the agenda if he's not here?
Nope.
Okay,
There's just no, legal just note that there was no report.
no report, thank you. And then city staff minutes.
Just happy to answer any questions if you have any. In regard to
Very thorough.
crews have been busy, got a lot of things going on. but We just feel like we're treading water some days as we got so much to do.
a big thank you to
Yeah.
everybody's work. And I know with the budget coming up, I know there's a lot of late nights.
Yeah, and he's put in a lot of extra time, nights, weekends. and just-
I get emails at nights and weekends, and so I want to call you out and say thank you.
Yeah, it's the busy time of year with budget.
I don't know, the last few years, when has it not been? a busy time,
Maybe pandemics.
right?
We have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
I have Zacarias and McFerren.
All, and is that a roll call? No, all right, adjourn.